Welcome to the show. My guest today, Chris Sambar, Senior Vice President, AT&T FirstNet. Chris, welcome to the discussion.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And Stacy Schwartz, Vice President, AT&T Public Safety and FirstNet Solutions. Stacy, welcome to the discussion.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Chris, one of the things that AT&T also does, and FirstNet's a part of, but is maybe a piece of the bigger puzzle, is the National Disaster Recovery Program. So walk me through how FirstNet can kind of play into that bigger discussion around and what else AT&T is doing around the Disaster Recovery Program.
Disaster response is one of the big, I'll call it cornerstones of the program. Everybody acknowledges that Mother Nature is going to take down a communication system. It happens, and it doesn't matter whether it's the most hardened radio system or land mobile radio or LTE system from wireless carrier. Mother Nature is going to do what Mother Nature does, and it's going to destroy things. So the Panhandle in Florida was a great example. That hurricane came ashore and decimated the area. We all saw it on TV. As part of the FirstNet program, we built out what we call our disaster recovery program. Think of a big trucks that come in. They have satellite connectivity and a big antenna that goes on the top, and it basically replicates a cell tower. So cell tower goes down, drive the truck in, put it up, cell tower's back. And we do that within hours of the disaster. We did it in Hurricane Florence in the Carolinas. We did it in the wildfires out west. We purchased a significant number of these following the signing of the contract with the FirstNet Authority. So we have these all over the country now. We have a defined response time that we will deliver them to any public safety agency, federal, state, local, that calls us and asks for one and needs it. We deliver it free of charge. It also works for Department of Defense, as an example, in the Panhandle, the Air Force Base down there. All of their communications was down. They called us and said, is there anything you can do? We showed up at their front gate hours later, drove these in. Suddenly they had a network after the base was completely almost destroyed. Public safety, you're the priority. We're going to come to you, and we're going to restore the network for you where you need it so that you can save lives, take care of people, take care of the citizens.
The satellite trucks you're talking about, not the big ones you're thinking of as you see at a sporting event or something, but these are almost like pickup trucks with a satellite on back of sorts, or a connection on back. You have a great name for them. Remind me of the name.
Colt. It's a cell on light truck. As part of this program, we have those, the big trucks. They're like a 1-ton truck, but then we also have smaller ones that are pickup truck size that we can drive out if it's challenging terrain, like the wildfires in California. Some of that was in the mountains where the firefighters were. So we were maintaining coverage for them out on the front line. So you drive the truck up close to them. Then we have drones that we have that we've rolled out as well. They sit up there at 100 or 200 feet depending, and they hover for 12 hours. 12 hours straight. And they come down for 10 minutes. They basically replicate a cell tower up at a couple hundred feet. We have smaller satellite solutions to get towers online when the backhaul is destroyed. So we're innovating and coming up with all these new creative solutions on how to keep the network running.
If you're, by some chance, there's an unfortunate incident where you've had something happen to an agent or somebody else, we've been able to bring our expertise and preparedness from a disaster recovery team to deploy network connectivity. So, we had an incident. There was an unfortunate incident with an agent down, and there was a lot of folks from law enforcement in a hospital setting. We made sure we had coverage for all those law enforcement officers in a hospital. During an emergency, we are always focused on restoring the network, and we've been doing that for many, many years. We added an additional component, is that placing people within those emergency operation centers and making sure that as we're deploying technology, we're deploying it in the right places and that we're responsive to the first responders that are in the midst of kind of responding to the event or the incident. Some of the hurricanes are great examples of those. Not this past year, but I think it was 2 years ago when we had all those Category 5 hurricanes. We were getting requests. There was devastation everywhere. So how do you provide that support? The people were moving the assets around to make sure we could support the first responders to ensure that we had stability for them during all of this.
And in fact, you guys have a specific dedicated, if you will, FirstNet team, response team.
There are people that come from the community. These are folks that were within emergency response teams in various states. They've been in emergency operation centers before, so they know what it's like. They have relationships with some of the folks in these communities, so that's really absolutely critically important. They're communicating not just with our leadership, but also our network team, our disaster recovery team, our FirstNet teams, some of the The client relationship folks are actually in there making sure that they're talking with various public safety agencies to ensure that we're meeting all of their needs. So that's a really important component here, is having that understanding. These aren't just folks that are being trained today. These are folks that came from public safety and now are part of our FirstNet program.
Like Stacy was saying, a lot of the people we've hired are former public safety. We wanted to go into the emergency operations center and sit at a desk. They said, "You're a commercial wireless carrier. We don't let you in there." And we said, "Well, actually, this is FirstNet. This is your network. So if you don't want us in there, that's fine." By the end of it, they said, "Hey, can you, from now on, always have somebody in the emergency operations center?" And we said, "Yeah."